Uh-oh.
There it goes.
There we are.
Sorry.
Okay. Oops. Okay. I think we've got all of the technical bugs worked out for our March Power Half Hour. And I want to welcome everyone who is joining us live, and also those of you who will come across us in the future. It is March 5th, 2017. This is the Power Half Hour for this month, brought to you by the Joyful Vibrant Life, which is a collaboration between Amanda Young and I. I am Sandy Freshy, and our collaboration is intended to bring balance and well-being to an ever-changing world. So we are delighted that you're here and tuning in for this half hour with us. And we hope that you find inspiration to start your month by feeling relaxed and empowered. So our topic today is boundaries. And Amanda and I have been talking about how important it is to set boundaries. And we know that there is so much information out there about how we should just say no to a lot of things. And we want to give you a little bit of a different perspective from the point of view of our backgrounds in human design. And for those of you who are watching this and you aren't sure about what human design is, it's a personality and energy assessment tool to show you how to use your energy in the most efficient way to get the most out of the life that you've really come here to live. So that's it in a nutshell. It's kind of an esoteric thing, and hopefully we'll work a little bit more of that in as we go. But we're just going to talk briefly today about energy types, auras, and how you can set boundaries according to your energy type, and how you naturally do that by virtue of what we call in human design, or what we know in human design as your strategy. So there are 4 basic energy types in the human design system, and you are one of them. and we'll give you information about, if you're not familiar or haven't seen your human design chart, where you can find that. And at the end of this broadcast, I actually am going to offer you, we've been starting to offer special things for each month. So this time it's my turn to offer something special. So it'll be something where you can get some more information about your type and your strategy, and what we talk about in terms of your the specific qualities of your aura. So there are 4 major that we see in the human design chart. There is what we know as the projector. There's the generator, or the manifesting generator. They can be broken out into 2 types. Purposes of this half hour, we're going to talk about it in terms of just one type. We call them the sacral beings because they have the energy to consistently work, whereas the projector type, or the other 2 types, the manifestor type and the root type, don't have consistent energy to work. And all 4 have challenges with setting boundaries because of how the aura works, or how the aura for your type works. So for instance, the projector has an aura that penetrates and absorbs. And when you're talking with a projector, you're interacting with a projector goes right into your energy field and gets what you're about. And the way that they do that is they absorb your frequency and your vibration. And that's how they can read you. So you can see that's kind of the easiest example of where there may be issues with energy type. And I'll go through these aura types. And Amanda, if you have anything to add, please do, and then we'll talk about the strategy for each type and how that relates to boundaries. So the generator type, let's talk about non-sacral types because they're very different in aura. The manifestor type has an aura that repels. And that doesn't mean that if you're a manifestor, you're repulsive. It just means that when people experience you, it's kind of like you have this, get out of my way. If you're really honoring your strategy, it's kind of like, get out of my way, I'm on a roll, kind of a feel to you. And again, you don't have the consistent energy to work. So there are issues around that in terms of doing things and feeling like or thinking that you can continue to do them once you start them. And taking things on and trying to see them all the way through to the end because you don't have that consistent energy to actually follow all the way through. Type has a sampling and reflective aura. So they're very, very open, and they're very rare on the planet too. So if you happen to be a reflector, both Amanda and I would love to talk with you because we don't meet too many of them. And the reflector type, again, doesn't have the workforce, the energy to work consistently. And along with that, the reflector type is designed to be very flexible and to change a lot in alignment with what's going on in their environment and what's going on in the cosmos. And they can reflect a whole bunch of different things depending on the time of day and where they are. So that in itself can pose some issues in terms of really being able to set, you have that flexibility. And then the generator type, which makes up about 70% of the people on the planet, has that consistent energy to work. However, that energy needs to be used in a way that that is in a way where the generator is working at things that are really appropriate for them. And their aura is about attracting. Generators, I think the law of attraction was made for generators because generators just have a naturally attractive aura to bring things into them. And if they're not responding, which I'll start with strategy now, if they're not responding, which is a generator strategy, to the right things, then there's this issue of getting into things that really are not for them, and where they really needed to have that boundary of that the response, the response. And Amanda, I'm actually, let me say one more thing, and I'm going to turn this generator thing over to you since you are one.
Okay.
We're going to talk now about strategy and how you can naturally cultivate boundaries, because we have this sense in, you know, when people talk about boundaries, usually they're talking about how you need to say no to this and no to that and no to the other thing. And I want you to listen and tune into this concept of your strategy for living life and interacting with your life through the lens of not the boundary necessarily of saying no, even though that's that's something, that's a habit that is really good to cultivate when you're clear about what you need to say no to, but also in the context of you can say yes to certain things in your life, and how that takes you along a different trajectory, which makes it so that you don't have to push against with the no so much. And so the boundary becomes, this is what I'm moving toward, this is what's pulling me, this is what's correct for me, rather than, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm going to resist whatever's coming to me, and I'm and I'm going to have to use all of this energy to keep my boundaries up and protect myself. Life works much better when you flow with the yes of what's really part of your trajectory, and therefore it makes the no's less necessary. So Amanda, the strategy for a generator with an attractive aura is to respond or wait to respond. So how do you experience that?
Well, I'm also an emotionally defined generator, so I have to kind of wade through and kind of wait for the right timing for things. Usually, if somebody asks me something that I need to respond to that feels right, it really does feel right. I get really excited. I kind of get, I get a gut check, and I don't know, I'm also defined in the spleen, so I'm not sure if that might be what that kick is, but I get a gut check and I get excited. Usually I still sometimes, there have been times I've done that and then it comes back and it's not the right thing. So waiting through, at least sleeping on it at the very least. Not necessarily having to wait for forever or wait for them to come back and ask you again, but just kind of just sleeping on it and kind of thinking about it a little bit. Thinking, how's this going to affect me? What's this going to do with the way that I work or how I live or, how I flow in general? Just kind of, and that would definitely go for the manifesting generators. You definitely have to kind of envision it a little bit and feel it. But if it's like just easy things, like Sandy says, hey, I'm coming to town. Can I come see you? Yeah. Sure. Awesome.
Yeah. And that's really critical.
Like a job opportunity, I think it's going to vary depending upon the person in general. I'm inquisitive because I've got the first line profile with my profile, and so I like to ask lots of questions to feel it out for myself. But the initial gut thing is I feel really good and I'm excited. If it's something like somebody's like, hey, I need to ask you a question. Do you mind helping me with this? And it's something that's, or you're even hesitant before they even ask that question. That's something I really chew on and wait and don't even try. I try to do my best to kind of remain neutral looking and listen to what they have to say and see how it feels. Usually that kind of depends on if it's, the person, if they've done that to you before, that kind of thing. But for the most part, it really is just a feel good feeling, or it's a no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. And for a lot of generators, it naturally comes out as or and I do want to, Amanda, just make the point that reiterate what you said, like, you're an emotional generator. So you really do need to feel that out and feel that over time. Yes. To be clear about it, or over time.
Usually that I don't do it. But if it's a but I'm not sure, I wait and see if I keep thinking If after over time, if it turns into I don't do it either.
Now, do you feel it in your gut?
When I don't want to, yeah. Definitely.
What about when you want to?
Yeah, but it's more like a happy feeling. When it's a it's like a hit in the gut, like oh no, I don't want to do that kind of thing. Like no, I don't want to, and then I want to run away. So a lot of times, it's like
and then other generators. Thanks for sharing that experience, and I want to follow that up with just making a point that there are other types of generators that have to get that clarity in the moment, where they just get that intuitive hit, or it's just a in the moment or and you got to either act on it or not, depending on what comes up in your gut. So and those would be generators with different types of authority. So thank you. Me not having the sacral motor, being a projector, it's good to get to hear your experience of it. So that really pulls you then to the next thing when you get the and you get it over time as an emotional generator. It pulls you into the next thing. So the or, you know, no, I don't want to do it becomes irrelevant. Or when you get a quick, or you get an you just kind of, it's almost, I'm sensing, and you tell me, it's kind of like you're waiting for the next or the next series of ahas to pull you, rather than, you know, the becomes irrelevant at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing that was that you wanted to act on, or came into your environment to act on, becomes irrelevant as you're waiting for the next Is that correct?
For the most part, unless they won't leave you alone.
And
Unless they don't take no for an answer.
That's
and that happens sometimes too.
Yeah. So you, for generators, you know, swimming in the ahas, whether you need to over time or whether you need to in the moment, is really what calls forth the boundary of yes, or the pathway of yes, and the trajectory.
I think it does come down to timing, you know, because somebody could ask me one thing one day and I'm like, don't think so. And then another day, you know, like a couple months later, it might feel really good to you. It just might not be the right timing either. So it doesn't mean that your means forever. It just means right then, and to protect yourself and kind of just set that little boundary, make it a clear line.
Yeah. And, you know, and for projectors, it's kind of the same. It's not the response, because we don't have that. We may amplify yours, but but it's more about, it depends on the timing of your clarity, your what we call your decision-making authority. And for me, I'm splenic, so I'm very much in the moment. I either get that it's safe or it's not safe, ignition to it, and I'm waiting. The strategy for a projector is to wait for invitations. So the generator has to wait for the things that they attract to show up in their aura. And the projector, because we're so vulnerable to other people's energies, really need to kind of sit back and watch and wait for the correct recognition, invited into those big things that call out our energy. So there's a sense of discernment that goes along with that, and a sense of recognition and for the splenic projector, it's a recognition of, you know, do I see, and does that other see me for who I am? And it really feels like resonance in the body at that point. For other projectors, and projectors are very complicated with their authorities because we have so many different types of projectors. You know, it could be that you have to talk it out, or you have to kind of hear your voice and hear what you say about it. It depends on your decision-making process. But what pulls us is the recognition and the resonance, and then we get the clarity about whether or not that invitation is correct, either over time or in the moment. Yes, you have to say no. I have to say no. But, you know, when I follow that resonance and that recognition, what I recognize is what resonates with me in the absence of a huge invitation, then, you know, it makes it less likely that I have to say no, because I'm in the right environment with the right people, using my energy correctly. So so that's the generators and the projectors. They have kind of like a Teflon aura. But there's this sense with reflectors, from the few that I know, that they really need to be kind of grounded in the natural world and nature, because they're very open to other people's energies, and they're here to reflect back what their environment, the health and the well-being of their environment. So in terms of boundaries, it's really important for reflectors to set a boundary around not being rushed to make a decision. And because they're so synchronized with the lunar cycles. They need to take at least 28 days to a month to get clear about whether or not they need to take action on something.
And they need to talk to others about it. They need to kind of get feedback and kind of talk.
Yes.
And feel it out a little bit too.
Yeah, and I think
they have to process it.
You know, a projector or a reflector personally. So
yes, my brother-in-law is a reflector, and he really does take his time. He does take his time making decisions, which is really good. I mean, because he doesn't have, you know, I don't even know if I've ever told him that, hey, you're a reflector. I just know that he is. So
he sets that boundary around taking his time.
He does. He really does. He takes his time on everything. Takes his time on decisions. He takes his time on processes. You know, he just goes his own little speed. And and you're right about the nature. He has to be out in nature a lot. He really likes to be outside and to garden and to do things like that, or he's not okay.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, another thing that just came to mind as you were saying that is there's probably, and if any of you reflectors want to weigh in the chat or after when the recording goes up, if you want to weigh in the comments on YouTube, there's probably this need to sort of become aware of how they're doing inside over time, because it really gives them clues about whether or not they're in the correct environment. If they're not doing so well physically, there's probably a change that needs to be made over time. So you know, that's a way of tuning into where your boundaries are as a reflector in the midst of the environment that you're reflecting. And the manifestors aren't really, there aren't really that many of them on the planet either. They're about 8% of the population, 7 to 8%. And manifestors really aren't here to wait for permission from anyone to do anything. So you know, they're the only people on the planet who can just get it done, get up and get it done. You know, some of them are emotional, so they have to wait for clarity before they take that action. But really, their boundaries kind of already have that boundary. Wouldn't you say that, Amanda? They have that boundary. Now, what gets manifestors into trouble, or what kind of holds them up in this process where they have to move forward, is that they need to inform everyone that they're going to impact when they go to take action on something. And they need to be able to let whatever it is that they start go, turn it over to whoever, and move on to the next thing. So that gives them permission to kind of move with their creative trajectory from thing to thing to thing. And, you know, manifestors, I think female manifestors really have an issue with that, more so maybe than men, because of the way that women are conditioned in general in our current modern world, you know, to stop and wait for permission. And sometimes even, you know, women can get shamed because women manifestors can get shamed if they take their own power. And they're really here to act on that power. And to initiate things, initiate people into things, to tell people what to do so that they can get started on things and then to move on to the next thing. But if you've been conditioned in a way where you have to stop and wait for permission, or you've been shamed out of your own power, or, you know, you've been shamed because you're not following through with something and seeing it all the way to the end when you're really not designed to do that, then it throws you off. And so for manifestors, the boundary, I think, is really around taking that power, informing, needs to be informed, who's impacted by their decisions, and then just taking that action and then moving on, initiating the action and moving on to the next thing when it's time. And if they can do that, they already have this boundary that's like, okay, get out of my way. And this energy that they naturally exude that does that, and it sort of protects them. But yeah, but the energy drain comes when they think that they can work like a generator and follow through like a generator. So that's pretty much the boundary setting part of this, you know, and this is part of the overall theme that we started last month of energy hygiene. It's really important with boundaries, setting boundaries, or it's really important to set boundaries to keep your energy field clear and clean. And by following your strategy in the timing of the way that your decision-making authority, or the way that you're here to make decisions, you can move toward yeses in your boundary setting, and you don't have to push so much against the no's. I guess that's the point of this month's exercise. So we're going to mix it up. Normally I do at this time. You on with this whole thing of these tools that we're presenting or sharing to keep your energy field clear and keep you moving so that that you really get to be joyful and vibrant. I think, Amanda, you've got some follow-on exercises and things you want to demonstrate to just keep the aura clear in a physical way, but it's a
in an energetic way. in a metaphysical, energetic way. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Okay. Well, Sandy and I did get together last month, but we didn't get a chance to do the spinal flush video for you guys, so sorry about that. We had too much fun doing other
things.
And then it was like, oh no, it's time for you to go. We forgot to do this video. So I'm going to demonstrate how you can do it to yourself the best way that I can on video. And Sandy has a little surrogate lamb. Is that what you've got? Or
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, this is what we used last month with our 2-on-1 energy sessions. So if anybody's curious, this is what I used for distant healing. So as a surrogate for
okay.
Well,
I'm gonna if you want to show them where they need to hit it.
Okay. So
but
if this were you,
yeah, if this was me, right here where your spine, the spine hits the shoulder area, you've got this kind of like a little knotty area right here, lower neck right here.
Yeah.
Right, usually right where your necklace would hit you. That you need to, either you or someone else needs to go from that all the way down your spine and hit off of your tailbone.
7 all the way down and then off the tail.
And off the tailbone. And for you to do it for yourself, if you're flexible, you can kind of go down yourself and reach up and go down and swipe yourself. Or you can get somebody to do that for you. And if you can't do it, and actually, and I'll preface, this is another Carol Tuttle energy tip. She calls the spinal flush. She's got videos online too that probably show it a little bit better. And I think they have demonstrations, but she told you could really just kind of shoot it down and you don't have to touch your hands or anything like that. You can just shoot it down off your spine. It feels so much better though when somebody else can do it for you. And they literally just go from the back of your neck all the way down your spine and off that tailbone really quickly a couple of times. You can actually do, this is the one that I mentioned you can do for your animals. My cats love it. I will go completely off of them and then go all the way to the tip of their tail and just swipe on them. And it clear because they pick up your energy too. Out of all of the energy types in human design, most animals are reflectors. So they're taking in your energy every day. You know, if you're like me and I'm a cyber,
back your well-being.
they don't know what they're doing. you know, they're like, ah, mom's driving me crazy. Just swipe the little energy clean. And the other one was about keeping your aura clear, and that is called the aura fluff. So this is again another Carol Tuttle, and it could be Donna Eden that she got it from. I'm not sure. I'm going to show you sitting down so you can see me in the picture. But you really need.
But if you're watching, you can stand up if you want. I'm going to sit down.
Let me see this. Can you see me?
Not very well.
Now can you see me?
Yeah. I'm going to sit though. So.
All right, that's good. So you're going to take your hands and you're going to do them like this. And you're going to go out into what you think might be your energy aura and just fluff it all over. Get down, get behind. You kind of look like you're doing a little dance. Just kind of clearing it out and then smooth your energy out. I mean, get it smooth everywhere. And you really can. It feels like staticky to me. And you just kind of do it until you feel like you're done. And kind of fluff it out and smooth it out. You know, because it really does reach out way past probably our arm lengths and everything.
Do you find
but I do this a lot when I'm feeling pretty. Like I've been around a lot of people, like in a crowd or party or even shopping. Sometimes I'll get back in the car and go, ooh, okay, gotta fix my aura, clear it out.
Do you find that this helps with your emotional authority? Like if you need to get clear about something that you're responding to over time, does it help to clear your aura out on every day and so that you can kind of feel yourself?
All of those daily techniques, like I showed in the last power half hour, and the spinal flush today and the aura, all of those are just like daily tools that you can use to kind of help clear your space,
right,
and clear your mind.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm going to do this one. I don't usually do anything like this, so I'm going to start working with that as the one who absorbs. And
the one when you're wanting, if you're wanting to make your decisions, that crown pull that I did last month, the one where you pull on your crown, that one's the one that really helps me get kind of clear and focused. But if I've been out in a lot of people's energy and I'm going to come back in and focus, then definitely the aura fluff. Usually the spinal flush really helps when you're really out of whack too. Really out of whack. Because you say, somebody come here and swipe this, swipe me.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for that. So before we hop off of here, I told you that I was going to do this special for this month, and I'm still waiting on a little bit of clarity about that. It is going to be some for a little clarification on how to make decisions, what your strategy is, how to make decisions, if you want a design chart, all of that. I think it's going to be like a half hour, 45-minute session geared toward that. I will put something up about that. I'm either a special price or a flexible price, as we like to call them. And I'll explain that when I put it up, and we'll put a link in the description box for this recording. And I'll get that up tomorrow morning so that you guys have a chance to. It will be limited because my energy is. I really want to work with you guys and help you get some clarity on how you begin to go toward the yeses in your life for you that take you along your life's trajectory, that you're really here to, where you're really here to go, so that you don't have to resist the no's so much. You can just flow into the yeses. to work with me, and I think Amanda does this to a certain extent with her private sessions. We do these energy things, or we give you energy prescriptions a lot of times, or energy guidance when you're working with us in coaching, or you know, if you're working on a certain aspect in longer sessions. So we did some of that with some people last month, and this month I'm focusing on offering the human design aspect of it. I think our half hour, maybe a little more. Yeah. We should call this the Power 35 minutes.
That's all right.
Great.
You got a lot of good information.
So everyone have a wonderful, powerful, please like video and share it. Subscribe if you want on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to get the next one and the next one, or whatever I put up. And we also have a Facebook page, business page, that we'll put a link to, and we have a group where you come in and discuss your own energy issues, or your own things about concerns about how to live a more joyful and vibrant life, and how to have a better balance and well-being in your life. For March, have a wonderful month, and we will see you in April. Yeah, thank you, everyone, for tuning in.